All right, we're gonna start with a warm up, starting with the head, just looking side to side here, warming up the neck, looking side to side. And through this whole entire time, I want you to focus on your breath, breathing in nice and slow and controlled through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, now we're gonna tilt our head side to side. Just going back and forth. And notice the tempo, I'm going at a medium tempo here, just to really get the body warmed up, get the blood flowing. Okay, now we're going to move to the shoulders, drawing big circles here. And we can have the hands out in front of us like this. So we're moving the forearms, the shoulders, the elbows, drawing big circles here. That nice medium tempo. Focus on that breath, stand tall. Okay, now we're going to switch directions. Big circles in the opposite direction now. All right, now we're going to move to the chest, bringing it in and out. So just opening and closing here, just nice controlled. You don't want to over exaggerate here, just go nice controlled motions here. Expanding and closing the chest here. All right, now we're going to go to the hips, drawing side to side. We have a nice bend in the knees. Similar like a dance or something. You can take this for later when you're out with your friends. Okay, now we're gonna go from side to side to front and back with the hips. So going front and back. Each time we're squeezing the glutes as we're pushing forward, opening up the hip flexors here. Going back and forth here. All right, now we're gonna go to arm swings. So drawing, just going crisscross motion here, crossing the arms back and forth, really opening up the chest here, getting the body nice and warmed up, getting the blood flowing. It's going back and forth. We're not forcing anything, just going really, just a light swing here. Okay, now we're swinging the arms forward and back. Again, light swing here. You can straighten the arms if you want a further stretch. I like to keep them just a little bent. Just going back and forth here, really get this blood flowing through our body. All right, now we're gonna go into trunk turns. We're gonna focus on the trunk. It's going back and forth here. I like to have the palms facing up close to the body. The hips are facing straight. Just the upper body's turning back and forth. I'm also looking straight. So the shoulders are turning and twisting here, really warming up this upper body and the trunk here. Focus on that breath. All right, now let's go into leg swings. Warm up these legs here. You can hold on to something for assistance here. Swinging back and forth. Just a light swing. Make sure to stand tall. Have the crown of your head facing up. Keep the back as straight as possible. Just focusing on swinging this leg here. All right, now we're gonna switch. Go on the opposite leg. Get a nice warm up here before our stretch. It's really important that we warm up the body before we go into static stretches. If we're doing isometric stretching, active stretching, get a nice warm up before we start. All right. Now we're going to swing the legs side to side. You can also have support here. Bring the leg in front and then out to the side. I like to point the toe as I'm going out. Okay, switch. Bring the knee up and out. Just a few swings here. Really warm up this hip. All right, now it's time to get those quads. So what we're gonna do is just drive those heels towards our butt here. I like to point the toes as well. Make sure to keep a straight line from the hips to the knees here. So that way we're really opening up the hip flexors. Getting these quads warmed up. Taking steps here. All right, now we're gonna switch into marches. Bring those knees up in front of you. Move those arms together. Spring off those toes. And we're just marching here. All right, now shake it out a little bit. You can kind of bounce on the toes. Now what we're gonna do is go into squats. So body weight squats here, dropping the hips down and back. Make sure the knees are in line with the toes. The heels don't lift off the ground. And just going down as low as you can to get a nice warm up here. We're not forcing anything, just go down to a comfortable level. If you can go down further, go ahead and go down a little bit further. But we're just performing the squat motion to really warm up our body, warm up these glutes, the lower body and the upper body at the same time here. Make sure to keep a straight back. And as you're going up, squeeze those glutes to really get a full extension here. All right, so we're nice and warmed up. Let's get into our stretch. Let's do this. First stretch we're gonna do is the side split. We're gonna work on this, and we're just gonna hold these stretches for about 10 to 15 seconds. So we're gonna go down as far as we can, comfortably. I'm working on getting there. Try to keep the feet flat on the ground and keep a straight back. And we're gonna hold here for about 10, 15 seconds. And this is where these static stretches really come into play for flexibility. And if you need to, you can hold down with the fingers here or the hands. Okay, now we're going to lean over to the right side and hold this stretch. Just holding here. About 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, we're going to switch to the left side. Now, the reason I don't hold static stretches too long anymore, I used to, I just found that I get way more flexibility gains when I'm doing just dynamic stretching and isometric stretching, which is another stretch routine. Okay, so we went on both sides. Now we're going to go into a pike stretch. This is a really good one. Great for if a lot of us have lower back pain, any issues like this. This has helped me with lower back pain, is performing the pike stretch regularly. So we're going to hold this here, keep the chest, try to drive it as close to the shins as we can. Keep the shoulders relaxed in their sockets, and just go down as far as we can. If you notice, I'm not going down too far here. This is about as far as I can comfortably go. Now, if I arch my back, I can go a little bit further, but we don't want to do that on this one. Okay, and now I want you, for these last 5 seconds, just go as far as you can. If you curve your back a little bit, that's fine. Really just try to go as far as you can. And hold here for about 5 or 6 seconds. Okay. Now we're going to switch to our back. So we're going to be on our stomach here, and we're just going to really make sure to have your hips on the ground and push to where your shoulders are still in their sockets. So you see my arms are a little bent here because my shoulders are in their sockets here. And hips are on the ground, shoulders are in their sockets, and then we're going to slowly push up to get a good stretch for the back here. I'm just going to hold this. And what we're going to do is just target all the main muscle groups during these static stretches, because I like to keep these nice and short. Okay, now we're going to go into the front lunge. Leg at a 90-degree angle. Our opposite leg, the knee's going to be on the ground straight here, and we're going to be driving the hips into the ground. So you're going to be pushing to really get a good stretch in the hip flexor here and the hamstring here. And with all these stretches, really focus on relaxing into it. We want to breathe deep and consciously relax the muscles we're trying to stretch. Okay, now we're going to lean back, stay in the same position, lean back, and we're going to extend this leg straight and push it forward. And then we're going to drive the hips pretty much down and back so we feel the stretch in the hamstring here. So we're going to be just dropping into it and then leaning our upper body forward. And when you should be feeling the hamstring and the calf here. And we can pull the toes back to get even more of a stretch, lean further forward to get more of a stretch, and drive the hips further back to get more of a stretch. Holding here. Okay, now we're going to switch legs. Same thing. We're going to go into that lunge position. Right foot at 90-degree angle. Back leg is going to be resting on the knee. And we're going to drive those hips forward and into the ground. You should be feeling it in the hip flexor here, a little bit on the hamstring. We're just gonna hold. Again, focus on keeping the back straight. It's gonna be a common theme. Keeping everything aligned and straight. Get a nice stretch. And then again, we're gonna drop back. Get this leg nice and straight. Driving the hips back and down. Leaning the chest forward. Pulling on the toes so we get a full stretch in the calves and the hamstring here. We're just gonna hold in this position. Okay, now we're gonna go into a calf stretch. We're gonna go back onto our hands and feet here, go in that downward dog position, find that good spot, and we're just gonna hold the calf down on the ground and find that good stretching point. Some of us might have to get closer to our feet to feel better. Some of us might have to go a little bit further out. Just holding here, try to keep that heel on the ground, and we're just gonna hold here for just a few seconds. Okay, we're gonna switch, go on the opposite leg. Stretch the opposite calf here, just hold. This position. And the calves and the Achilles are they're common problem areas for a lot of us as well. Okay, so we're done with calves. Now we're going to a shoulder stretch. You can use an object. You can use like a desk or a chair, or you can just use the ground. I'm going to use the ground here. We're going to put our fingertips on the ground, and we're going to stretch our arms as far as we can in front of us, and then we're going to drive our hips down and back. So we're hitting basically a child's pose, and then this whole time we're pushing our chest. Try to push your chest or your sternum into the ground as far as you can. And for some of us, if we're really flexible here, you might have to get a chair or object to elevate our arms even up higher. But for me, I'm good here, just going on the fingertips and really driving the sternum down to the ground. This next static stretch is going to be for our back again, and this one is probably one of the best because you're going to be targeting your shoulders, your hips. It's a little bit more advanced though, so I'll show you the beginner version first. We're going to go in, we're going to lift up onto the back wheel. This is called the back wheel stretch. Place the feet flat on the ground, lift up the hips, keep a nice 90-degree bend in the legs here, and we're just going to drive the hips up and hold in this position. But if we're more advanced, I want you to go ahead and place your arms or hands by your ears, fingers facing toward your feet, press up and hold into this bridge stretch here. And we're just going to hold for about 10 to 15 seconds here, and this is going to be a really good one. Now the goal is to get to where your arms are straight and your legs are straight. And we're just going to hold here. Great for the core, great for the shoulders and the wrists and the hips. Hold here and then lower. So fantastic one for the back there. Now we're going to stretch out the wrist, another common problem area. So we're going to place our hands flat on the ground and just lean forward. You can lean, you can judge how far you want to lean forward here. You can just go a little bit if your wrists are not too flexible, but if you have pretty flexible wrists, you can really lean forward into it. We're just going to hold here for a few seconds. Hold this. Now we're going to switch. Just flip the fingers facing towards you, and we're going to lean back. Instead of leaning forward, we're going to lean back. It's a great one. You're going to feel it in the forearms. You're going to feel it in the wrist. Great exercise to do here. Just going to hold here. Okay, now we're going to flip the arms on the opposite side, or the hands on the opposite side, and we're going to face our palms toward our face here. And same thing, we're just going to press down and hold here. Now I have my fingertips facing toward each other, towards the middle. So it looks like this, and we're just holding here. Okay, hold just for a little bit. Now we're going to do another shoulder stretch. Just reach clasp the hands behind your back and make sure that your palms are touching. So a lot of us will just hold with the fingertips. Make sure the palms are touching. So we hold here, straighten them out, keep the shoulders in their socket, and then pull back as far as you can. See, my shoulders are pretty tight, so I can only go back only a few inches away from my hips. Okay? Now we're gonna finish off with just some, a straddle stretch. So we're gonna spread our legs out as far as we can here comfortably, and we're gonna lean our backs and our upper body forward here. So we're gonna try to reach down as far as we can, really breathe and relax into it, and we're just gonna hold here. And with each out breath, like when you breathe in, each exhale, try to go a little bit further into the stretch. And this goes for all the stretches, all these static ones here. Okay, and that completes this stretching session. That was the static session. Enjoy this. Remember those principles, just keeping everything aligned, relaxing into it, and I'll see you in the next stretching session.